So I saw that you had saw a need in your community where there were some kids that didn't have school uniforms, and no one was doing anything about this. I think who's the guy, the congressman, Kwesi Mfume, who you actually ran against. He totally turned a blind eye to it, but you stepped up and you helped these kids with these uniforms. Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, thanks for even noticing. A lot of people don't notice the good things, right?
Right, of course not.
Yeah, so we helped 64 families in Baltimore City, and it wasn't just me. I really reached out on social media and I said, look, we've got a bunch of kids being sent home for not being in school uniform, which is against school policy, but for some reason, a lot of the principals were doing it. And so got on social media and I asked for people to just send me an email basically if they wanted to help. And what I did is I actually took that donor and I connected them with the family. And so that donor was able to then purchase online uniforms, send them directly to that family's home. So it was just
Wow.
those two going direct contact. There was no money exchange. They literally just ordered it online for them and sent it to their
Wow.
house. And some of the donors were so nice. They even sent toys from Amazon. They
Oh,
sent, I had one lady sending pajamas and all this stuff and
wow.
blankets. And so it really worked out. All the families were really happy about it. But yeah, no one really stepped up in the city. And I just couldn't believe, not even the mayor. I reached out to the mayor. He did respond to my message. He said, oh, which schools are doing it? Because he wanted to make sure those schools were not sending the kids home. But that
Mm,
didn't put any uniforms on their backs, right? Just
right.
doing that. So I
Yeah.
had to say, you know what, let's do something about it. And it worked out, easy process. So thank you to all the donors and supporters that helped those families in Baltimore.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Kim. It takes things like that. It certainly makes you feel like there is some hope because you don't hear about stories like that very often. All you hear are the negative stories, and you don't get to see the heart of people much anymore. Especially when you're on Twitter, it can be a vicious place that I am learning. I feel like I'm still new, so I'm still getting broke in there. But thank you for doing stuff something like that, and I think we need to hear more stories like that. I know that there are plenty of stories out there for us to tell, but you're right, we don't. Nobody typically tends to tell the stories that make you feel good instead of like making you want to pull your hair out every day.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah. So another thing with schools, what is it like? Have you guys seen the loss of learning with COVID? Because I know in Florida we had, which is why Governor DeSantis wanted to get kids back in school so quickly. We were seeing so many kids lose their learning. What they had accomplished, they were regressing in learning. Were you guys seeing that too in Baltimore? I know education is not necessarily your wheelhouse, but have you seen that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, in many parts of Baltimore City, we have broadband issues, and our mayor did just pass something, and he's getting funding through that infrastructure bill to do something about that. But it's a little too late, right? Because during the pandemic and the lockdowns, there were kids that couldn't even log on at all, right? So
Yeah.
they missed about a year of school. The interesting part is, a lot of the parents were asking, okay, so when they go back to school, will they be repeating the grade? Will they get tutoring?
Yeah.
Baltimore City decided to just bump them up to the next grade and not even go back and worry about it. So that's a problem.
Oh my
So I do think we're
God.
going to see in about 10 years or so, or even before that, we'll probably see a lot of kids in high school unable to read, write, or do basic math because there were a lot of kids that should have been reading at this time that did not get any of that instruction.
Oh
And
my
so now
God.
they're pushing them forward and pushing them through. So that's going to be a travesty. But yes, we had kids that even had straight A's. They regressed and now are not doing so well in school because they
Right.
just had a hard time learning online. So yeah,
Yeah.
the fact that they were locking down schools even longer than they should have made absolutely no sense.
Yeah. It's insane.